in understanding this topic. So in the last class we have discussed on this apa okay, perfect competition, and then uh, and discuss about this perfect competition. We understood also the basic principle that need to be understood about firms, which always try to maximize profit. Okay, so we uh, okay, today we continue with this monopoly. Okay. Okay. Today's topic is monopoly, and if you remember what we discussed last time about the spectrum of market structure. Okay, we have a spectrum of market structure, and at one extreme is the perfectly competitive market, and at the other extreme is monopoly. Okay, so remember we are talking about seller here. Okay, monopoly as a seller. Okay, because we are now talking about the supply side of the market. Okay, the demand side we discuss about the consumer behavior. Again, how demand curve is derived from the concept of utility maximization. Okay, and now we are talking about the supply side of the market, that is the supply. So now we are talking about seller. Okay, so in the perfectly competitive market, a single firm has no power over the market. Okay, where they just take whatever price which is determined by the market, and then they just decide on how much to produce. Okay, depending on their cost structure. Okay, so they take whatever price is given in the market, and then they compare that price with whatever with their with their cost structure. Okay, so price which is given by the market is actually okay. I'm just reviewing the perfectly competitive term here. Okay, so price is price when you will be able to sell every unit at the same price. So price is also your marginal revenue. So you compare the marginal revenue with your cost structure, which is by looking at your marginal cost. Okay, so the market give you the marginal revenue and price and marginal revenue, and then you look at your cost, okay, to decide your capability, whether you can afford to produce or not by looking at your marginal cost. So your marginal cost equals to marginal revenue will determine your quantity that you will be selling. Okay, and then and then you and then when your marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, will also mean your marginal profit equals to zero, which also means your total profit is maximized. Okay, remember, total profit is maximized when marginal profit is zero. When marginal profit is zero, meaning marginal revenue equals marginal cost, because marginal profit is marginal revenue minus marginal cost. Okay, so we understood that. Okay, and uh, we understood that, and then we also understood about the existence of perfectly competitive market is because of must be perfect competitive market exists or come into being because of free entry and exit. And why free entry and exit? Because product is homogeneous. It means that if anyone can produce the same product with no pattern, no one can claim. Okay, this product is my product. This is my brand. You cannot claim this brand. Okay, you can nobody can claim anything. Okay, because like for example, flour. Okay, it's the same whoever produce it, so it's homogeneous. So if you cannot claim that product is yours, so everyone can produce that product. So because of the homogeneity of the product, so there is free entry and exit. And because of free entry and exit, so there will be large. So there will be large number of seller and buyer. Okay, there will be large number of seller and buyer. Okay. And there is also perfect information. Okay, perfect information is also important. Why? Perfect information here is related to the pricing and also the cost structure of firms. So if everyone knows the price of others, so everyone will be competing. I mean to reduce price, but for a very competitive market, price is actually determined by the market. Why by the market? Because um, buyer and seller all will go to the market and then they will negotiate in the market and everyone knows everyone's price and there is perfect information, so nobody can undercut price or selling price above the others, because if you sell price more than others, then of course you cannot sell anything, and you can also offer lower than the market price. Why? Because you cannot afford that price. Okay, because market price is actually the price which in the long run which makes sure that everyone is just break even. So you cannot offer lower price than that because you will be lost. You will be driven out of the market. Okay. So that was perfectly competitive market. So now we are going to look at this monopoly and why this monopoly exists. Okay. So as we say, this is one extreme. So monopoly means there is one seller. So why there is only one seller? Okay. So for this uh, we look at this. Okay, sorry. Okay, monopoly. Okay, so a firm is a monopoly if they are price maker or they can determine, not exactly determine, but they can afford to have different price for different unit that they can sell. Because why? Because they are faced with the market demand curve, not the horizontal demand like a demand curve which is faced by a firm in a perfectly competitive market. Okay, so a firm is a monopoly if it is the sole seller of the product. Okay, so seller here means there is no close substitute. The product have no close substitute. No close substitute. Okay. If, for example, you are producing electricity, for example, of course there are substitutes for electricity, like you can use wood, you can use gas, okay, to generate electricity, but uh, the way um, you cannot substitute. Electricity with different kind of power generating method is different. So you can say that is there's no close substitute for electricity. Um, for example, you are I like this example, okay, because this is a very, it is easy to get this to understand this as a monopoly. For example, you have a special talent. Okay, you have a special talent. You can, for example, you can walk on a rope. Okay, it is not very special, but here in our place, maybe in Malaysia, okay, that talent is not. People don't really develop that talent. Okay, so for example, you can jump on a rope. For example, no other people can jump on a rope like you. So for example, if so you are the sole owner, the only owner of that talent. Okay, so you can ask for price. Okay, when people ask you to do performance, for example, you can ask for price. Okay, because you have the monopoly power. No one else has the has the talent like you are. So there's no close substitute for your talent. Or for example, though, like Siti Nurhaliza. Siti Nurhaliza is a good singer. For example, assuming that there are no other person in Malaysia who can sing, there is only Siti Nurhaliza who can sing and who can sing here in Malaysia. For example, so she has the monopoly power over her talent or her voice or her ability to sing. Okay, so she can demand for price. Okay, because she is the only owner. Okay, so that monopoly, so that example that I give you just now, like Siti Nurhaliza, and then put your talent to flip on a rope, for example, is the type of monopoly that comes because you have a special resource that is not owned by any other person. Okay, so your special resource in case of Siti Nurhaliza is your ability to sing, your voice. Okay, maybe you have a special chord in within you that you can sing with no one else can when no one else can. Okay, so you have special resource. So one of the reason why there is a monopoly is because of the ownership of this special resource. Okay, you own the special resource of ability to sing, so you have the monopoly power. Okay. Okay. So it is a barrier it is this barrier to entry. Okay. So we know that a single seller means that we know other from who will be in the industry. So there must be barrier to entry. So your ownership of your special talent is a barrier to entry. Okay, because there is it's not possible for other person to have the same talent as you are, so it becomes a barrier to entry. Okay, it's not easy to become a singer. Okay, you you need a lot of things to become a consumer, a singer. Or maybe, for example, in the case, a simpler example, like for example, you own land where is uh, that land is located over an oil reserve, for example. Okay, so you have like about 10 acres of land where under your land there is a special reserve of oil or petroleum, for example. So you own that special resource. So there is no other person in that area, in that country, for example, who own oil reserve like you are. So you have special resource. Okay, so it is a barrier to entry. Okay, okay, barrier to entry could also be the result of government given like exclusive right, like patent or license, special license. For example, license to produce electricity given to Tenaga Nasional, for example. This is example. I don't know how they do it with Tenaga Nasional in Malaysia, but we just assume. Okay, we just assume that okay, the government gives special license to Tenaga Nasional Berhad to operate electricity supply. to operate a company which produce electricity, which supply electricity. Okay, so government give a license or give copyright or give patent. Okay, so all create barriers to entry. Okay, so barrier to entry here in this case is created by government. Okay. Okay, another thing is what we call as natural monopoly. Okay, natural monopoly. Okay, this is natural monopoly is because of when there are economies of scale over the relevant range of output. Okay, for example, to produce electricity, usually they don't produce it in small scale. Usually to produce electricity, okay, they build dam, for example, and this building of dam requires a great deal of money. Okay? Requires a very large amount of capital to start the production. Okay, and usually government will not. Usually the government usually will take advantage of economies of scale. Why? Because they don't want to. So there is barrier to entry. So there is no small companies will not be able to enter this industry of providing electricity. Okay, because why? Because the existing large company is too large, is already too large to supply to cover the demand for the whole country. Okay. Even that demand is still too small for the company. Okay, for example, the capacity of the existing firm is, for example, 1 million or 1 billion kilowatt, for example. That is the capacity of what you call this. I hope you still remember your minimum efficient scale. Okay, minimum efficient scale is reached when, for example, the electricity is produced at 1 billion, okay, 1 billion kilowatt, for example. Okay, but the total demand of the country for electricity is just maybe 10 million only. The capacity is 1 billion. The minimum efficient scale, the best scale is 1 billion kilowatt. But the country just need 10 million. Okay, 10 million kilowatt is so small compared to the maximum the best capacity of 1 billion kilowatt. So even once one firm it cannot reach the minimum efficiency, so that's why other firm cannot enter. Okay, because if they enter, they need big capital, and this big capital have, to reach. Uh, but this big still cannot enter. Why? Because the existing firm will drive out the new firm out of business when they reduce price and then they increase their capacity. Okay? So that is natural monopoly. So usually why this tenaga, why this water industry is a monopoly. Sometimes is monopoly is given by a government, right? Okay, why? Because it is more efficient to produce at large scale. Okay, it's more efficient to produce electricity at large scale, meaning to start at you building big dam, for example. Okay? It's not efficient to produce maybe electricity using what using solar, for example, where small small amount is produced with small capacity. Okay. So there is natural monopoly. Okay, so basically barriers to entry, basically given by government, and maybe because of this natural monopoly, and maybe because of you own a special resource, which is not uh, available to others. Okay. 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 So Okay, so how this monopoly decide on profit maximization? Okay, it's the same, just like perfect competition, just like any other firm, any other type of firm. I mean, other than monopoly and perfect competition, all will decide on profit maximization based on the marginal revenue and it equals to marginal cost concept. Okay, so it's the same, just like monopoly. Okay. Okay. If okay, this is a monopoly profit maximization situation for monopoly. So who can tell? How is this difference with what we have before when we discuss about perfect competition? What is the difference with perfect competition in this table? Okay. Jo Zichong, can you tell the difference here in this table? With the table that we usually use before when we discuss about this perfect competition.
Madam, can you repeat the question because I didn't understand your question.
Okay. You can see a table in front of you, right?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. That is quantity, price, total revenue, and total cost. Okay. Uh, can you I mean last time we discussed about perfect competition and we want to define the profit maximizing quantity. Uh, okay, how can you tell? I mean, this is a monopolistic firm. I mean, what I mean is that okay, okay, okay. Maybe it's difficult to understand why actually I mean.
Oh, because the price is different.
Yeah.
Because it,
The price is changing, right?
yes.
For different quantity, you get different price, right? Okay, so for example, if you sell 1 unit, the price for 1 unit is 1,200. When you sell 2 unit, the price fall to 1,100 per unit. Okay, so it means that what this is actually now this is the difference with perfect competition. In perfect competition, for a firm in perfect competition, they are price taker. Price is determined by the market, and price is not the price does not change when you change quantity. Price remain the same. You sell 1 unit, the price is $10 per unit. You sell 2 unit, the price is $10 per unit. But if you are a monopoly, you are facing the market demand. So market demand curve is a downward sloping demand, meaning that the price is changing when you sell different quantity. Why you must understand demand curve is downward sloping, and why demand curve downward sloping is because of marginal utility. You understand that? So because the firm is facing the market demand curve, so it faces a downward sloping demand with changing price. So that is the difference. So you can see here total revenue curve is no longer total revenue is no longer a linear curve. A linear curve. Now, okay, you will find this is your total revenue and total cost. Okay, remember last time your total revenue is just a positively sloped linear curve starts from the origin. Okay, and now your total revenue curve is no longer shaped like that. It's now it has a minimum point, and then it start the what the the slope. Okay, the slope changing. The slope of your total revenue curve changes. Okay, compared to your firm in perfect competition, the slope of your total revenue remain the same. So that's why in perfect competition you can say last time remember price equals to average revenue equals to marginal revenue. Okay, but now your marginal revenue is no longer fixed, no longer constant. Your marginal revenue is changing. Okay, so that's why you have you get this changing value of marginal revenue. Why marginal revenue changes? Because marginal revenue is additional revenue from selling additional unit. So when the next unit that you sell will give you lower, you will get lower price for the next unit that you sell. So of course, the additional revenue from selling additional unit will be lower. So that's why marginal revenue falls as you increase the quantity that you sell. Okay? So your marginal revenue no longer equal price. Why? Because price change as the quantity change. Price fall when quantity increase and price increase when quantity fall. Okay, so marginal revenue or the additional revenue that you get from selling additional unit will also fall. Will also decreases when you sell additional unit. A lot more unit. Okay. Okay. So and you are given here total cost and marginal cost, and of course profit maximization is when you sell how many units? Marginal revenue equals to marginal cost at 5 units. And your total revenue is for 5,000 and your total cost is 1,650. And then you can calculate your maximum profit or total profit. Okay, you will get your profit is maximum at 5 units where marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, or the slope of your total cost here is equals to the slope of your total revenue. Okay, so this is where your marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. Okay, and this is the quantity that you will be selling. But the price, how about price? Okay, price is determined on your demand curve. Okay, let's look at this another table here showing the marginal revenue, marginal cost, and marginal profit. Okay, marginal profit. Okay, if you remember last time we decided that marginal profit is actually marginal revenue minus marginal cost. Okay, so when marginal cost equals to marginal revenue, of course, marginal profit equals to 0. And your profit is maximum. Why maximum? Because after this point, your profit fall. Okay. Okay. Before that, your profit increase 700 increase to 1425 increase until 2350. It is constant there, and then it start falling down. Okay, so that's why your total profit is maximum here. Okay, because it's at the maximum point where your marginal revenue equals to marginal cost and your marginal profit equals to 0. Okay, so marginal profit equals to 0 where marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, where your total profit is maximum. Okay, so this is how you calculate your how much your profit and how much your total revenue and your total cost. Okay, of course this is simple. Okay, you can get your total revenue by multiplying quantity with price, and then your total cost by multiplying average cost with quantity, and then your total profit is just total revenue here minus total cost below. Okay, so this is your profit. Okay. Okay, and then this one is actually I just want to show you how to draw, to correctly draw your marginal revenue and demand curve. Okay, what I want to show you is that, okay, if you draw a horizontal line across across any price level, okay, if you draw a line across any price level across these two, marginal revenue and average revenue. Remember, demand is also average revenue. Demand curve is also average revenue. Why it is important for you to understand that? Because you want to relate to the relationship between average and marginal. Okay, and you should know if your average is falling down, is decreasing. Of course, your marginal must be below. Okay, so because all the way average is down is falling all the way decreasing. So all of course all the way marginal is below it. It will never be above it. Okay, because average is falling. Okay, okay, that is one thing. And another thing to mention just now is that yeah, if you draw any line across these two AR curve and MR curve, you will find that you will get the same distance here. Okay, you will get the same distance between this horizontal vertical axis with marginal revenue and from marginal revenue to average revenue. Okay, this is the same distance here. This here, okay, and here, okay, is the same distance. Okay, any. Okay, you can see here here also here the distance here equals to this distance here. Okay, distance here. Okay, so the distance, okay, distance from here to here, okay, this equals the distance from here to here also. Okay, so it's the same. We call it equidistance. Okay, we call it equidistance. That is equidistance between your vertical axis and the MR curve, and also from MR to AR. We'll call it equidistant. The distance is equal. Okay, you can see equal distance. Okay, equals distance. Okay, you can see equal distance from left to from vertical axis to this MR curve, and from MR to AR curve. The distance is equal. So every time you draw your AR and MR curve, okay, make sure you follow this this rule. Okay, it must be the same. Okay, the distance between okay, this distance. Okay, the distance. Okay. Okay, lebih kurang lah kan. Tapi kan sebenarnya dia sama kan. Jarak daripada vertical axis ke log MR ni sama dengan jarak daripada ke log MR ke log AR. Okay, at any level, at any point, at any price level. Okay, you can. Okay, just to show you that trick. Okay, not trick. Actually, is you can prove it mathematically, but we are not going to do it here. Of course, it's not the level for you to get to do the proofing. Okay, you don't do proofing here, but actually you can prove it. Okay, but I just want you to use that relationship every time you draw your MR and AR curve. Okay, for monopoly. Okay. Okay, marginal revenue. Okay, marginal revenue of a monopolist is always then less than price. Okay, where price is also average revenue. Okay, price is also average revenue. Okay. Why monopolist curve is demand curve because it's also the market demand curve. Market demand curve is always down sloping. Okay, the marginal revenue curve for monopoly always lies beneath the market demand curve, where market demand curve is also average revenue curve. So when AR falls, then MR must be below the AR. Okay, because market demand curve is also the AR curve. Okay, so when AR falls, so of course marginal revenue MR must be below. Okay, remember the relationship between average and marginal. Okay. When increasing the quantity sold by 1 unit, marginal revenue is affected by in two ways. First, we sell one additional at the new market price. Second, all the previous units which could have been sold at a higher price now sell for less because of the lower price on all units. So the marginal revenue of selling a unit is less than the price of that unit. And the marginal revenue is below the demand. Okay, so because you can sell every additional unit that you sell at lower price and the previous unit also that you are supposed to be selling at higher price, now it will get lower price. So that's why marginal revenue is slopes downward and below AR. Okay. So for profit maximization, for monopolies, okay, monopoly determines this profit maximizing level. For monopoly set what price to charge and then calculate the total revenue cost. Okay, so first, how profit is determined is to follow marginal revenue and marginal cost rule. Okay, so MC equals MR rule is to determine quantity to produce. So here, MR equals to MC is to determine Q star. Okay, and then after you get your Q star, you follow the quantity and then you until you reach your demand curve. Okay, to determine P star. Okay, when and then price is determined on demand curve where Q is Q star. Okay, first MCMR rule to determine quantity Q star. Again, then to determine P star, you get the Q star and you go to upward until you find your upper demand curve to get your P star. Okay, P star is determined on demand curve where Q is Q star. Okay, and then profit is determined by AC curve at Q star. And then you want to find your profit and then you have to get your average cost curve. Okay, so for that, okay, you can determine your profit. First, monopolies in the short run could get zero profit. That is when price equals to average cost. It could get zero profit. But it never actually is very difficult to happen, especially for natural monopolies when they have a declining average cost or when their economies of scale is very very large. Okay. Okay, but it could happen for maybe smaller monopolies or small monopolies with, like for example, Siti Nurhaliza. Or like for example, I mean, you as who can run on a rope. Okay, for example. Okay, maybe you can get this zero profit depending on your cost. Okay, but of course, for Siti Nurhaliza, maybe the cost is not that high because you don't need that much to produce your special voice. Okay, because it's something which is given already there for you. Okay. Okay, and then when price is greater than average cost at Q star, of course you get profits greater than zero. Okay, and then if you your price is smaller than average cost, of course you get profit less than zero. This is all in the short run, of course. In the long run, the same thing could happen, but of course, in the long run, monopolies will not will not produce zero profit. Will not produce a negative profit. Okay, at least positive, zero or positive profit. Okay, in the long run, okay, monopolies could get zero profit or positive profit, but no negative profit. In the short run, maybe. Okay, but in the long run, profit, of course, they will never produce when they get when they get negative profit. Okay. Okay. Now, what I we want to do is just to look at simple example here. Given, I mean, simple. Okay, if you open your OL, is there in your OL monopoly practice? Just this one to give you. I mean, just to introduce the one so that just make sure that you understand the basic concept of monopoly. Okay, this is the question. Okay, that you can find in your OL. Okay, this is actually a very simple one. I think everyone can. I mean, it's very simple. Okay, so the question is, you are given this diagram. Okay, which oh sorry, ngantuk. Sorry. Uh, with price and cost at the vertical axis and then quantity at the horizontal axis. And then you are given the average total cost, marginal cost, demand, which is also average revenue curve, and also marginal revenue. Okay. So the question, how many, okay, the question is, Ron Hamburger's Joint is the only restaurant in town. The above figure represents Ron's cost, demand, and marginal revenue curves. Ron operates at a single price monopoly. Okay, why? Okay, in some question you get single price monopoly because there are what we call it price discriminating monopolies. But we don't. I mean, but I think we don't cover that. I don't know. I don't cover that. We don't cover that. Maybe we don't cover that. But we have actually price discriminating monopolies. But we don't cover that. But it's interesting actually. But no, we won't cover that. Uh, so for this is for single price monopoly. Okay, so how many hamburgers does Ron produce? What price? What is Ron's total revenue? What is his total cost? And what is Ron's economic profit? Okay, I want to ask someone here. I am looking at. Okay, sorry, I don't. Uh, okay, I want to ask Nur Amira Irdina. Okay, Nur Amira, are you there? Nur Amira, Nur Amira Irdina. Nur Amira, let me see if got there. Nur Amira, I'm looking at the participant list. I just want to know that Nur Amira. Nur Amirah Irdina. Nur Amirah Irdina, you are there, right? Nur Amirah Irina binti Izanati. Okay, Nur Amirah, what is the quantity that maximize
Yes. Sorry.
yeah? Nur Amirah. How many hamburgers does Ron produce? Nur Amirah? Ada Nur Amirah? Ada Nur Amirah? Yeah.
Sorry, madam. I cannot get the answer.
20, 20.
Okay, everyone answer for you, Amirah. Okay, everyone answer was 20. Okay, Amirah, do you know how do they get 20? No, Amirah. The answer is
No,
20.
no,
Yes,
no.
correct. You don't know. Okay, can someone tell Amirah? Amirah, how you get that 20? Can someone help Amirah explain to her how you get that 20?
Madam, because
Yeah.
the marginal cost and marginal revenue curve is intersect at 20.
Okay, you are correct. Thank you. But Amirah, do you understand now? No, Amirah?
Yes.
No, you
Yes, yes.
understand. Okay. So you get your marginal
Yes.
cost and then your marginal is cross there. So the quantity is 20. So now, Amira, what price does Ron charge for a hamburger? What is the price now? What is the price? The quantity that will be produced is 20 because marginal revenue equals to marginal cost equals to 20. What is the price?
Hmm. RM2 because sebab bilangan itu.
2 ringgit?
RM2.
2 ringgit? You
Yes.
mean two? Two. Okay. Everyone, is it correct?
Yes.
But the price is 2 ringgit per unit? Is it correct? 2 ringgit? 2 ringgit or $2, whatever.
$2.
$2. Are you sure? Everyone get the same answer? Who get different answer from other than 2? Okay, yeah.
Madam, is it 6?
6. Okay, you are Muhammad Haikal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Muhammad Haikal is correct. Okay, the answer is 6. Why?
Because it's not at the intersection between MR and MC, but it's at the what you call the demand slope.
The demand curve, yes.
Demand curve. Sorry.
Okay, remember just now when we talk about this step. Okay, for monopolies first, monopolies decide how much to produce based on MR equals MC. And then it will get the quantity and it goes straight to the demand curve. Okay, to get the price. Okay, so everyone, please note now the price is 6. Okay, everyone understand? The price that will be charged by this Ron for each hamburger is 6 ringgit. Okay, make sure you understand that. Okay, anyone who need more clarification? Okay, I hope everyone understand. Okay, first, okay, when we discuss about the step just now, first you decide your quantity based on MR equals MC, you get quantity, Q star. Yeah, 20 is Q star. And then you get P star by taking that Q star and then you go up until your demand curve. And then you decide price there. Okay, what is Ron's total revenue? This time I want to ask Fatima. Fatima binti Muhammad Faisal. Fatima, ada tak ni Fatima ni? Fatima, Fasha. Okay, Fatima. Fatima, what is the total revenue? Fatima? Fatima, are you there? Fatima. Fatima binti Muhammad Faisal. Fatima. Fatima tak jawab lagi. Okey lah, kita tanya orang lain lah. Fatima tak jawab. Tanya apa? Tak. Looking for... Okay, Salihah Farihin. Salihah Farihin. Salihah Farihin, you missed one exercise. You didn't do exercise 2. Okay, Salihah Farihin, that is a different matter. Okay, now we are talking about this exercise. Okay, Salihah Farihin, what is your answer for total revenue? You got the price and then you got the quantity. And then how do you get total revenue? Salihah. 120. Okay, thank you, Salihah. Okay. So what is your total cost, Salihah? Salihah? Okay, Salihah, what is the total cost? 80. And then what is your total profit? Your profit. Okay, thank you, Fariha. Total profit is simple, right? Okay, total revenue minus total cost. Okay. Okay, but Salia, I really want to ask you later, okay, why you didn't do your exercise 2. And I also, another one, who didn't do exercise 2 also, Sarah Umaira. Sarah Umaira also didn't do exercise. Also Amira Akira. Oh, quite a number. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, the next one is quite even simpler. Why simpler? Because it's the same concept that you are using. Nur Aliana. Nur Aliana. Okay. Nur Aliana. I hope you are there, Nur Aliana. Okay, what is, wait, when you look at this diagram, this is perfect, is market, is market demand and supply. Okay, and then uh, okay, the upper figure shows the industry which is in a competitive, a very competitive industry is taken over by uh, a single firm and operated as a monopoly. Okay, but before that, the industry was a competitive firm. Okay, so when a competitive firm is taken over by a single monopoly, maybe this monopoly is because it's government. Okay, maybe government decide, okay, everyone, okay, form yourself into a monopoly, and then government will give you right certain license to allow all this firm to become one big monopoly. Okay, so what is the competitive price and quantity? I asked just now, Nur Aliana, right? Nur Aliana Rifa. Nur Aliana, do you have idea of what was the competitive price and quantity? What was the price and quantity when the industry is a perfectly competitive industry? Or Aliana, sorry, you don't understand. Okay, okay, like this. Okay, this is an industry. Okay, industry for a monopoly, industry is also the firm. Okay, so this diagram shows the demand and marginal revenue of monopolies. Okay, but when we talk about perfectly competitive per industry, this is a single industry where actually the demand curve is this demand curve of the industry, and the supply curve is also the marginal cost curve. Okay, so for a perfectly competitive industry, if you remember when we discussed about perfectly competitive market, marginal cost curve is also marginal cost which is above, remember, above the shutdown point. Shutdown point is price equals to average variable cost. That is shutdown point for a single firm. Okay, and marginal cost which is above that shutdown point is actually the supply curve of a single firm. I hope you still remember. Okay. Marginal cost, which is above the average cost, average variable cost, is also the supply curve. And if we combine all this marginal cost curve from all the firm to combine into one, you do this, what you call this horizontal summation. We sum horizontally all marginal cost curve from all firm to become one big marginal cost. We call it sigma. Okay, sigma marginal cost. That is combination of all marginal cost of our single firm is also the market supply. So marginal cost curve is also the supply curve of a single of supply curve of a perfectly competitive industry, but it is not the supply curve of monopoly. Monopoly have no supply curve. Monopoly have no supply curve. Okay, so the question is, what was the competitive price and quantity? Price and quantity. So the perfectly competitive price and quantity is determined by supply and demand. Okay, so where is it now? Para Iliana? Nor Aliana. I always ask this now for Nor Aliana. Okay, no, not Aliana. Now, what is the competitive price and quantity now? Do you understand what I explained just now? Marginal cost is also the supply curve of perfect competition, and there is demand curve. So, what is the competitive? What is the equilibrium? Okay, equilibrium price and quantity of PCM, perfect competitive market. Now you get it? No. Okay, anyone? Yes, anyone.
Is it P2, madam?
P2 is the price and quantity.
Q2.
Okay, P2 is the price and Q2 is the quantity of a perfectly competitive market. Why? Because as I said, marginal cost is also the supply curve of a perfectly competitive industry. This is actually the combination of all marginal cost curve of all firm in the industry. When you combine all marginal costs, you get the supply curve of industry. So equilibrium is where demand equals to supply for a perfectly competitive market. So the point is C here. So the quantity is Q2 and the price is P2. Okay. 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 For PCM, perfectly competitive market. Okay. Marginal cost is also okay. Now, what is the monopoly price and quantity? This one is easier, right? Again, Nur Aliana, again I ask you because you haven't asked, you haven't answered me. Okay, so what is the monopoly price and quantity, Nur Aliana? Now, Nur Aliana, what is the price and quantity of for a monopoly? You can just recall from what we discussed earlier in this question one. Nur Aliana, still don't understand. Nur Aliana, please answer. Uh, no, Aliana, you still can don't get it. Do you? Okay, maybe I ask someone else. Sarah Umaira. Sarah Umaira. Okay. Sarah Umaira. Sarah Umaira binti Suraini. Okay. What is the monopoly price and quantity? Salah Umairah. Salah Umairah. How is the monopoly price and quantity? We just discussed on question 1 just now. It's the same.
Q1 PT. What is the price? What is the monopoly price and quantity? Q1 MC equal to MR. Monopoly price P3. Madam,
Answer? Yeah.
rasanya monopoly price at P3 from where Q ambil
Okay.
P3 where from Q. Q
And the quantity?
monopoly quantity is
And the quantity?
P1. Betul tak madam?
Q1. Q1.
Monopoly
Q1 is the quantity.
quantity
Ah,
P1.
P? P ke Q? P is price.
Oh, Q1 dekat B.
Okay. So the B is point where marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, and at that point is consistent with Q1 unit.
Thank
Okay,
you.
at Q1 marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, and then you go from that Q1 to your demand curve. You have to get the P3 price. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, the next question here is actually we don't really cover this, but okay, maybe I want to show you this. Okay, we don't cover this topic, but this is quite interesting actually, just to show why perfect competition is the most efficient or the best type of market structure for the society, for economy, okay, which is best for both consumer and producer. Okay, just look at this concept of consumer surplus and producer supply. I want to show you this here.
Thank you.
Okay, the concept that we are looking just now is about what we want to look here is actually the concept of consumer supply and producer supply, and the concept of that we lost. Okay, consumer surplus is the area below the area below demand curve. Okay, actually the concept of consumer surplus is the excess of benefit that you get because we pay less than the benefit that we get. Okay, so we get the excess, this
Sabar
excess
gila
benefit.
weh dah. Aku tengah
So the
balik
concept of
atas dah.
that consumer surplus, is actually area below the demand curve.
Aku tengah balik atas dah.
Okay, so when we this is okay like this. Okay, the concept of consumer surplus is actually the area below the demand curve. Okay, so for example, when the price is at monopoly price, so the area of monopoly. Okay, this is not a good. Okay, I think that one okay. Okay. Okay, refer to this to this I'm showing you that. Okay, refer to this diagram here. Oh my shit. Okay, refer to this diagram here in this exercises now. Okay. Okay, maybe I write in your chat box. Okay, like this. Consumer supplies. Okay, PCM. Consumer supplies. Consumer supplies. Of PCM, perfect company market, is area P4 C P2. Okay. Okay, consumer supplies is actually the upper area below the market demand. Okay, which is above the price, the market price, equilibrium price. Okay, so when price is P2, this whole area below demand curve and above P2, okay, which is area P4, C, and P2. Okay, this is the upper triangle area. Is the area what we call as consumer surplus. Okay. 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 Consumer surplus of monopoly, under monopoly. What consumer supplies that the consumer will get when the industry is monopoly is the area P4A, P3. Okay. So consumer supply under monopoly is at this area, which is smaller actually. Then the consumer supplies under price of the competitive market. Why? Because monopoly price is higher at P3. Okay, so when you compare here, monopoly price will be higher than perfectly competitive price. Okay, quantity, in terms of quantity, monopoly quantity at Q1 is actually lower also than the perfectly competitive equilibrium quantity. So, so here you can see, okay, monopoly will result in higher price and lower quantity. PCM will give you lower price and bigger quantity. Okay, so because of that, the consumer supplies under perfect competition, which is P4, C, P2, okay, is bigger than the consumer supplies under monopoly, which is P4, A, P3. Okay. Okay, this is actually the answer. The answer is the question for answer for question C and D. Okay, and this area of deadweight loss, we call it DWL. DWL is area ABC. A, B, C. The triangle area, deadweight loss of monopoly actually. The deadweight loss as a result of monopoly. Okay, what is deadweight loss? Deadweight loss is the loss to the society. Loss which is gone nowhere, which is gone to the thin air. Nobody gets it. Okay. Other loss could be transferred. Other loss could be transferred. Like for example, loss in consumer supplies transferred to producer, or loss in producer supplies transferred to consumer, for example. But some loss are just deadweight loss. Deadweight loss is the loss to the society because of inefficiency. And this loss is gone nowhere. Okay, nobody gets nobody get that benefit. There is a loss of benefit from the society. Society will be at loss because of this that we lost. Okay, so the area of that we lost is that we lost of as a result of monopoly is ABC. The area is AABC. Okay, we are not going into detail into that, but if you are interested, okay, actually why is there that we lost? Okay, the consumer surplus before CP2, and then when we come with a monopoly, consumer surplus this is the area which is lost from consumer surplus. This area P2, 3AC lost to consumer, but this rectangle area will go to monopoly, will go to producer, and this A, C, and this in middle here, this area triangle above the triangle which is above here, okay, is gone as that we lost. It doesn't go to it doesn't go to producer. Okay. Okay, so that is that we lost area, and this below area is about producer surplus, and this within this area is lost in producer surplus. Okay, so this triangle area is actually ABC is actually both loss from producer surplus and from consumer supplies, which gone nowhere. It is lost to the society. Okay, so but you don't worry about these these three questions here. Okay, but if you are interested, okay, just explore. It's not difficult actually. Okay, if you understand all the other concept, then it is very easy also to understand this. Consumer supplies and producer supplies and this that we lost. Okay. Okay, so we do istiha, no, we don't have time. Okay, so I think that's all for today. And regarding the, I mentioned just now about the mid semester exam. Okay, we have some problem with the activity day, so we decided to do it at night. I hope it's no problem for you. Okay, so the question I put in your WhatsApp group is 60, but we haven't really decided yet how many questions, maybe 60 or less. Okay, but maximum time is 2.5 hours. Okay, but if less question, then it will be less time. Okay, so we will decide on that later when we uh, when we do this meeting to discuss the question. Okay, I think that's all for today. And this Tuesday, okay, we are done with this topic on market structure, and we are done with the topic on microeconomics actually already. So we have one session on Tuesday. So I think we'll do some revision. Okay, I will find some revision question for us to do revision, and then you will spend 1 week, okay, to do your personal revision, and then we will have this next semester exam. And then for those who haven't done this exercise 5, please do it. Okay, and